we're all using them, right? These incredible AI tools that feel like they came straight out of science fiction.
I mean, think about it. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of these powerful tools are available to literally anyone, right now, for free. They can write your code, they can draft your emails, they can even bust out a poem if you ask nicely. It honestly feels like a superpower.
But here's the catch. Every single time you use them, you are paying a price. It's just a price that never ever shows up on any bill. So what's the real cost? Well, let's pull back the curtain.
It really boils down to three big hidden costs. First, we're going to talk about the currency you're actually spending, your data. Second, we'll look at the pretty shocking toll all this takes on the planet. And third, we'll unpack the multi-billion-dollar business strategy that makes free even possible.
Okay, so let's start with cost number one. What really happens the second you type in a prompt and hit enter? Because you're not just asking a question, you're feeding the machine.
Yeah, every single query you make, that business idea you're kicking around, that sensitive work problem you're trying to figure out, your most private thoughts, all of it can become what's called training data. It is literally the raw material used to teach the AI, to make it smarter and more capable for the next person who comes along.
And this is where it gets really interesting. If you actually dig into the terms of service, the stuff nobody ever reads, it's right there in black and white. On the free tier, they state very clearly your conversations can be used to train their models. But the second you switch to a paid plan, poof, that clause is gone. Your conversations are suddenly private. Privacy, it turns out, isn't a right, it's a premium feature.
So let's just be crystal clear about what this means. The free users are essentially subsidizing the improvement of the AI with their own data. Then, paid users get to come in and buy privacy to use the very model that you helped build. You're literally paying with your ideas.
And that brings us to the second hidden cost, one that's almost completely invisible to all of us. We're talking about the planet's power bill, the absolutely staggering environmental footprint of free AI.
Just look at this. A single, simple query to an AI can consume nearly 10 times more electricity than a standard Google search. Now, that might not sound like a huge deal for one person, but multiply that by hundreds of millions of users asking billions of questions. The energy demand becomes absolutely astronomical.
And all that energy? It generates an immense amount of heat. Those giant data centers need constant cooling, and that requires water. A lot of water. I mean, check this out. Microsoft's water consumption jumped by a third in a single year, a spike they directly linked to their AI investments. Some researchers even estimate a simple conversation with ChatGPT can use up an entire bottle of water. It's wild.
And get this, that's just the cost of running the models. Training them is on a whole other level. Training GPT-3 emitted as much carbon as driving a car to the moon and back. The energy needed for its successor, GPT-4, was enough to power the entire city of San Francisco for 3 days. The scale is just mind-boggling.
Which brings us to the final and maybe most important hidden cost. With these insane expenses, how on earth can any company afford to just give this technology away? Well, the simple answer is they can't. It is all part of the plan.
The strategy is a classic business tactic. It's called a loss leader. You've seen this a million times, like when a grocery store sells milk for super cheap. They might lose money on that one carton of milk, but they get you in the door, where you'll probably buy a bunch of other, more profitable stuff. With AI, free is the cheap milk, designed to get you in the door. And here's exactly how that funnel works. First, you attract a colossal user base. We're talking hundreds of millions of people with this powerful free tool. Next, you get that tool integrated into their daily lives, building a habit, building dependency. And finally, once they can't imagine working without it, you convert a percentage of them to paid plans, offering more power, more features, and, you guessed it, more privacy. And is it working? Oh, you better believe it's working. OpenAI's revenue is projected to explode from $2 billion to $20 billion in just 2 years. This isn't a charity. The free tier is the engine of a massive, multi-billion-dollar conversion machine. You've probably heard that old saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Well, with AI, that idea is supercharged. You're not just the product being sold to advertisers. Your data, your habits, your creativity, you are the actual raw material being used to build the next generation of intelligence, a product that's worth trillions. So, after all of that, what does this all mean for you? And more importantly, what can you actually do about it? And look, this risk isn't theoretical. In 2023, engineers at Samsung accidentally leaked sensitive company trade secrets, including their own source code, just by pasting it into the free version of ChatGPT to ask for help. And just like that, that data was absorbed, becoming part of the model.
Now, the point here isn't to stop using these incredible tools. It's about being smart. So rule number 1, never, ever paste anything you wouldn't want on a public billboard. Number 2, take a minute to dig into the settings and opt out of data training if you can. Third, definitely check if your company has a policy on this. And finally, if the work is sensitive, the best way to protect it is to get a paid plan that contractually guarantees your privacy. So, the next time you open that chat window, remember what's happening behind the screen. It's not just a conversation, it's a transaction. And now that you know the real price tag, the only question left is, what are you willing to pay?